Over to James. Thank you very much. We just go into, so I just thought I'd just give you a quick overview of who I am. So I started my service accommodation business completely in Cambridge just under 2 years ago. I have a strategy which is rent to SA, where we rent property and then essentially have a lease agreement with the owners. And we have properties in Cambridge where I do it by the room. So I've got a guest house of 12 rooms and also whole properties, anything up to 4 beds. I've got a good experience of understanding the different types of clients. I specialise in the kind of systems automation for service accommodation. Like I was saying before, is I've really focused on actually trying to make sure that my business is passive as possible, because that's the whole point I got into service accommodation. In fact, I think a lot of people that went into service accommodation looking at a lot of property training got missold because they got told it was this amazing passive income. Well, actually it's far from that. It's more hassle and headache than it is having a buy-to-let or being a normal landlord. And as far as direct bookings, is that we are delivering anything from sort of £10,000 to £20,000 worth of direct bookings per month. Basically doing some of this sneaky stuff, and also a big believer in telemarketing. A lot of people think that telemarketing is kind of dead, but talking to people, talking to businesses, I promise you it is still one of the main revenue streams for generating sort of direct bookings. It's still really, really good. So, instant impact, as I just thought I'd just go through some stuff that you can take away really, really easily, straight away, which is that, again, you can systemize this, and I think everything I'm going to talk to you about is stuff that you can do and then pass on to someone else. That's how I run my business, and I think everyone else should look at trying to do the same, which is really, really straightforward, step by step. You can use a system called Loom. I don't know if anyone has ever used Loom, but essentially use Loom to record your computer screen to show the next person to do exactly what the task you're about to do with them. So, for example, going onto Google and then actually searching for local hotels in, say, London, and then identifying those local budget hotels like Travelodge, Premier Inn, Holiday Inn. Really, really obvious. And then you just list those down. And then what we've been doing, and what was mentioned earlier, is that I started out doing this myself, which is when I had 2 or 3 units. I'd go down to that hotel car park, go in late at night, and I would say that my tips are that on a Monday and a Tuesday night is the most effective way of doing it. 6 o'clock onwards is optimum because we've got all the guys coming back from site, and you can find people locally on Gumtree to do this for you. So I actually have put adverts on Gumtree and said, do you want to do some hotel researching for me? And you get people going like, what on earth are you talking about? This sounds, is it legal? I've even had someone say, literally, is this legal? And I've said, yeah, all I'm asking you to do is to go to the car park and essentially write down some details for me of those car parks, people in those car parks. And we use that, so this bit here, ATO, this app we use, which is GPS tracking. So we use it for our cleaning teams, so we then know exactly where they are any time of the day. But we also use it for our hotel researchers. So we get them to do a GPS ping that we know that they've been to the car park. So it's another way that they get paid. So we then also know that they've been there. And this is where the smart bit is that what you were saying before was saying essentially, go and call those people up and generate some bookings. Well, yeah, you can do that, but what will tend to happen with cold calling is that you'll go and say, can I speak to someone who looks after the bookings? And they'll say, well, no. And you go, okay, thanks very much, bye. And if you're not rehearsed in doing telemarketing, it's probably quite hard for you to then try and say, oh, sorry, will they know what it's regarding? And you buckle and you go, oh, no, they don't. Where what you can then do is then go onto LinkedIn. So a lot of people don't make this connection, which is that a lot of these companies, a lot of their guys and their offices are all on LinkedIn. So you then take those companies and you put them into Google. So for example, we've done quite a lot of bookings with SSE Enterprise, SSE Contracting Partner with the SSE PLC, a big energy company. So they have a travel desk. So essentially you go onto LinkedIn and you actually type in things like HR, travel desk, anything like that on LinkedIn. And that will bring up a list of names and people that you can then go and call and speak to about generating your direct bookings. So when you actually go and call up their offices, you're actually asking for a specific person that deals with the things that you're trying to deal with. So it's really a great way of being very specific, and those have generated us literally, I mean, one booking alone generated us a £16,000 booking Monday to Friday for months. So just by incorporating this into your daily routine, we get someone to go there every Monday and Tuesday, and it costs us something in the region of about £75, £85 each time. So when you think about, would you like to spend, like, potentially it might take you 4 weeks to get that kind of booking. We're talking hundreds of pounds to then generate some really cool direct bookings, like really, really decent sizes. So I would highly recommend getting that into your routine and start getting some other direct bookings. The next best thing, so a lot of these contractors are working out that they don't have to book through Airbnb and Booking.com. They are working out, so they are essentially going to Airbnb and making those bookings. So those contractors aren't necessarily in the hotels anymore. They're not going to the hotel car. So going to the hotel car park, they're not actually there. So what we found is we will get, we talk about collaborations, like we actually have a few people we actually work with together. We have a maintenance person and other people will go to a construction site on our behalf together, and they will go in there and they will go and see where all the contractors' vans are actually parked. And you'll find that these big construction sites, they have big car parks and they're all lined up, and those are the companies that have been travelling from quite far and wide, and all are in there, and some of them might be using an Airbnb already. So essentially you're just getting their details and saying, look, I can take that booking direct, you don't have to keep booking with them through Airbnb, and they also might not have a direct booking strategy, so you can clean up those really easily. The other bit that we do is we have a leaflet. Essentially we make sure that every time they go to site, they are asking to speak to the site manager, and they are then saying, look, in the site canteen, can we put these in here? And you'd be amazed at how many people call up directly because you've put that in the canteen. Because what's happened is they've come in there for lunch, they've come to get out of the weather, they've gone in there, and then they go and pick up that leaflet and go, yeah, actually, that sounds great. And we've got bookings directly from that. So really, really powerful to make sure that while you are there, you're then maximising your time. So that's been really, really, really useful for us. So one of the other things is, what we found is that it sometimes can be quite difficult driving around trying to identify these sites. So we've got something that you may have heard of, may not have heard of. I don't know if anyone has heard of Barber ABI. Anyone heard of that? So essentially, no, you haven't, I'll talk. So Barber ABI, I'm giving you some, I can't tell you, we've generated close to £60,000 in the last 6 months purely from using Barber ABI. So I'll talk you through this. So my background, essentially, I used to run a construction leads company where we used to work with subcontractors and to generate them tender opportunities. And all that construction data, we used to then help with other local contractors generate more work. Now, what Barber ABI does is it tracks all of the construction projects going on right from the beginning. So when it goes for planning, they then track it. And then when they find out which the architect's approved, they then log it. When the main contractor goes out, it goes out for tender, they log it. And then when they get the subcontractors appointed, they then add it on there. So what happens is that you can run a search. So this is a basic search here. So this one's just for London. So for example, this came out with something in the region of about 2,000 properties, 2,000 projects going on in London, from anything from £500 million up to, in some cases, 350 million. Massive like infrastructure projects. And it dots them all on the map. And then what you can do is you can then click on one of those, and then you go and say, show me the contractors involved in this project. So what happens is it zooms out into the UK map, and then it then identifies property, like companies that are based in Scotland, Ireland, Manchester. And what do you think you could do with that? You can then call those companies up, because you've got a purpose for bringing them up, because you're going, and I've done exactly the same thing. I've trained up my team that does my telemarketing and said, look, this is how we do it. And we've then called up those companies and said, look, we are the accommodation provider for 18 Blackfriars Road. We're the appointed accommodation for that project. And I would love to talk to you about the accommodation for the project that you've got going on there. And, you know, how many guys have you got coming to that site? And we've, you know, I've got a recording of the whole call, but essentially we had one situation where project in Cambridge, 56-bed care home, and they were the roofing company. And I bring them up and I said, essentially, what you involved in the project? And they said, look, we're actually going to be there in April. We're going to be there for 4 months, and we're going to have 16 guys on that site. And I said, have you got any accommodation sorted out? No. Amazing. So you could hear me on the phone go, ooh. And then we then went through the process of then converting them into a direct booking. So for us in our area, it depends on where you are located in the country, but it probably costs you about £1,000 a year. But essentially you can fill your boots with construction projects in your area. You can find out specifically who's involved in those projects. So you can even speak to the site manager, and just find out who he's appointed on his projects. So it has been really, really effective for us. So if you're a larger business, yeah, the hotel car park sort of situation might not be useful for you. But if you're a larger business that you've got 20, 50, 100 units, having a system like this, which essentially is approaching these kind of companies, and even if you don't want to have, I know some people in this room are like, oh, I don't want contractors, people getting dirty boots in my houses, is that you can, use the surveying team, the architects team, all of the other sort of support services that go along with it. And it is really, really effective, like super effective. So for us, hopefully that's been quite useful for you guys. I think a lot of people are kind of not keen to have contractors in their properties. I don't know why, but for us it's been incredibly effective for filling up midweek kind of bookings for us. But I don't know if has anyone actually done anything like, does anyone do telemarketing, generate calls or anything like that in their business? So do you do it yourself, or do you
One of my team does it. I do that the day and stuff, going around hotels.
Yeah.
Make the calls.
And how effective has that been for?
Contractors are a lifeblood for us midweek. So,
yeah.
We take the cream for the weekend, but now that's the profit. The contractors pay for the ongoing costs.
Yeah.
On the rental estates.
Yeah. Brilliant. So we've kind of done that, and that's been really, really effective. And I would definitely say that if you're not doing something like this, you really, really should be looking at it, and really consider doing some telemarketing into your business, because it is really, really effective. So essentially, that is kind of me on my. Hopefully that's been really helpful for you guys as far as some quick tips to sort of take away, and also with Barber ABI to kind of get you guys doing it at a more strategic sort of level to then generate those kind of direct bookings as well. I obviously, like I said, was specialised in sort of systems and automation for service accommodation operators. So I have my sort of 10 apps that kind of that I find that are really, really helpful for systemising and automating. So I've got a QR code that you can get your pre-book there. Thank you very much. Thanks very much, James. Very simple.